Traders, how are you? Marcello, founder of the Day Trading Academy, co-founder of Speed Up Trader. Today we're going to be doing the recap of what happened in the markets last week. So overall, not a super very newsy week, but we do have a lot of news when it comes to Bitcoin and some of the crypto space. Bitcoin is absolutely exploding, so we'll get into that as well. If you guys like the videos, obviously I started uploading them as well on the channel for Wanderingtrader. So if you guys like them, like the video, subscribe. Let me know if you guys have any questions. It helps a lot when you guys like the video, so don't forget to smash the like button. On Monday, the markets were mixed. Moderna, which is the US-based pharmaceutical company, reported that they have an experimental COVID-19 vaccine that's going to be highly effective at 94.5%. The Dow and the S&P 500 as well reached record highs. They're the 24th record high of the year so far. Tuesday, it ended lower, even though the Russell 2000, which is a smaller exchange, most of you guys maybe haven't heard of it, reached an intraday all-time high. Wednesday was far lower as the tech and healthcare firms let us sell off in the late afternoon. A lot of traders are worried about the lockdowns, the new lockdowns, about the second wave of the coronavirus. Also in Europe, if you guys remember, in the UK, they're talking about lockdowns as well, Germany as well. So, if they lock down again, obviously the economy isn't going to move at all. Remember that the majority of the economies, especially more advanced economies, is consumer spending. So that's you and I going out and spending money. So if they lock down the country again, that's obviously going to affect the economy quite a bit. Wednesday, as I mentioned, was far lower. Thursday was positive. Friday was lower as investors are looking to find some sort of stimulus. There was news as well that the U.S. Treasury Secretary Stephen I butchered that completely. The U.S. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, got it better that time, said that he decided to defund to stop the Fed Corona lending program on December 31st. It's announced by the supposed president-elect Joe Biden. He hasn't been officially, stated that he won just yet because of the lawsuits by the Trump campaign. But the Biden campaign is stating that it's not a good time to remove that kind of stimulus or that kind of help due to the fragile economic state of the economy. Overall, for the week, U.S. stocks are mixed. The Dow was down 0.73%. The S&P 500 down 0.77%. The NASDAQ up 0.21%. European markets were higher. The Euronext, which is the largest exchange operator in Europe, they're based out of Amsterdam. They went up 7.72%. Latin American and Canadian markets are also a lot higher. The Merval in Argentina went up 3.20%. Canada was up 2.19%. And in the Africa and the Middle East, Nigeria was down 2.63%. While the biggest winner was Saudi Arabia at 1.70%. In Asia and the Far East, Singapore, the biggest winner of them all at 3.74%. Finally, in Bitcoin, we had an enormous run. For this week alone, it went up 15% to about $18,661.90. In the last 3 months, it's gone from 10,500 to 18,400, which represents a rally of 75%. And so far this year, since March, when we had that big crash in all the markets, it seems like, right? It's gained 400% in 2020, which makes it the best performing asset overall for the year. The third richest person in Mexico, billionaire Ricardo Salinas Pliego, he is stating that he invested 10% of his $11.8 billion fortune into Bitcoin. And also this is what I've always told you guys. It's not that I can't go up or down. I don't like when people kind of misrepresent the things that are going to happen. For example, I did a video 2 weeks before the crash in 2017 and called the top, telling people be very careful, don't invest. And obviously we had the crash. And nobody remembers that all the analysts then were talking about how it's going to get to 50,000 and 100,000 or 200,000, right? And I mentioned to you guys at the beginning of this year and the beginning of the last year that it wasn't going to get to 50,000 either. So it's not that it can go up or down. Obviously, it's an asset just like anything else. But I don't think that it's going to be the new financial system like a lot of these people are saying. That's why, for example, a lot of these countries didn't allow Facebook's digital currency to actually succeed. You You see what I mean? So if you're going to invest in it, great. You know, if you're going to invest in something else, great. Do your research. Obviously, it's very volatile. There's a lot more fraud in the Bitcoin space compared to others. Just do your research. What I believe is that the digital currencies of central banks, or the blockchain, the technology behind Bitcoin, that's what's going to revolutionize everything. People's Bank of China this week begin testing a digital version of the yuan, while a lot of other central banks already have the framework, have the, let's say, the virtual kind of theory of how it would work. Consensus Systems, which is led by the Ethereum founder, his name is Joseph Lubin. He's working on a central bank digital currency with Hong Kong, Australia, France, and Thailand as well. So the question is, what's going to happen to the digital currencies when the government digital currencies come out? See what I mean? In Italy, a great deal of the country's banking system also uses a program called Sputna, which is another blockchain network that's based out of New York. It's a New York-based firm, R3 is what I have here, to be able to reconcile the balances between the accounts. So you guys can see blockchain can be used for everything, but we're going to use Bitcoin to pay for stuff. The government's going to allow it. I wouldn't go that far, but it can still go up and down, right? It can reach 20K, it can reach 30K, you know, who knows? Financial and banking news. I mentioned about the U.S. Treasury Secretary Mnuchin stating that he's going to go ahead and stop the corona-led stimulus, let's say, the lending program on December 31st. In commodities, oil-producing nations like the Middle East are continuing to depend quite a bit on oil reserves and the price of oil in the future, despite all the plans, pledges, and priorities, and trying to reducing their dependence on oil. We have a situation, for example, where Aramco, which is the biggest global oil company in the world, it's the state-run oil company of Saudi Arabia, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. They're looking to raise about $8 billion in bonds, while this is the second time. The last time they raised $12 billion just 2 years ago. What they're trying to do is raise money to be able to continue, because they're not able to support these lower prices either, and they want to be able to avoid the stopping or lowering the $75 billion dividend payments. But remember, now they're a public company, and 98% of those dividends goes to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. U.S. crude for the week is up 5.70% at $42.42. International oil, which is called Brent, is up 5.09% to $44.96. We've seen a huge surge after the announcement of the vaccine. Essentially what happens is nobody's moving around now, right? A lot more people are working from home. We, U.S. citizens, can't even travel to Europe right now. Nobody's really doing much. There's not a lot of movement, so the expectation of the demand for oil is still low. Now we have a situation where we have the second round of lockdowns because of the second round of the coronavirus. So now we have even less expected activity. So now, because of the vaccines, there's a situation, well, you know, things can maybe get back to normal. People can take a vaccine. We don't have to get shut down anymore. People start going out, they start traveling, they use more oil, and that's why we've seen this kind of huge skyrocket in oil in the last few weeks. Precious metals are lower for the week. Gold is down 1% to $1,871. Silver's down 2.06% to $24.25. In political news, the U.S. Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger is certifying the election results on Friday. Raffensperger, I just love the name, Raffensperger, formally declared the supposed president-elect Joe Biden as the winner of the state. I say supposed because technically we really don't have a winner until the electors actually vote for the president-elect in December 20. He's stating that Biden won the state of Georgia by 12,000 votes, even though Trump, the campaign, is still eligible for a recount because of the narrowness of the result. In economic news, Americans filing for first-time jobless benefits rose last week to 742,000. Obviously, this is spurred by the business restrictions. We have places like New York and California that are starting to shut down again, New Jersey as well. This is going to further slow the recovery of the market. At least 20.3 million people were on unemployment benefits as the end of October, with 12 million people losing those benefits this month. And if we don't have a stimulus, if we don't have something that's going to continue to help these people, obviously we're going to see a big wave of problems, most likely in 2021. JP Morgan is the first major bank that now sees an economic contraction in Q1 due to the coronavirus and the business restrictions. They're expecting a 1% contraction in Q1, followed by a 2.8% growth in Q4. U.S. economies are also expecting a $1 trillion fiscal stimulus to be passed under the Biden administration, assuming that he wins, likely at the beginning or the end of Q1. In corporate news, I mentioned about the Moderna vaccine with a 94.5% effectiveness. Their stock has surged 400% in 2020. EasyJet, which is a low-cost airline out of Europe, reported that their income fell 50% in 2020 as the end of September. They still haven't been able to return to capacity. They're still only running at about 20% of capacity. Tesla surged 8.21%. On Tuesday, the stock got to $441.61. They officially became part of the S&P500 on December 21st. And so far for the year, the stock is up 428%. That means a lot more cash for Tesla and a lot more money for Elon Musk, since his salary, if you guys don't know, is $1, but it's based on goals. And if you read those goals, those goal posts, he gets stock and other kinds of benefits, and this is going to mean that he's going to get $15 billion richer. In trade news, the EU is warning the UK on Monday that time is running out for a trade deal. It may already be too late to ratify one. Scare tactics by the European Union as usual. There's about $1 billion in trade between the UK and the European Union, as they might be preparing for a hard exit without a formal agreement. Taiwan is also hoping to open new economic dialogues with the potential president-elect Biden in regards to a new free trade deal, a bilateral free trade deal. Trump administration stopped short of signing the deal, even though he did help the country quite a bit with military sales and things like that. In technology, Barclays credit card business has struck a deal with Amazon to offer a seamless, customized shopping and payment services in Germany. This is going to allow the two entities to be able to go ahead and focus on the most important market in all of Europe. And what they're going to do is they're going to combine their services and then use an AI system to be able to see what new things or what personalized offerings they can offer the customers in the future. In investment news, U.S. home sales increased for the 5th consecutive month in October. Record high prices and tight inventory are probably going to slow the momentum. Existing home sales surged 4.3% to seasonally adjusted annual rate, say that 3 times fast, to 6.85 million units last month. And the September number also was raised by about 300,000 units as well. U.S. healthcare ETFs have led inflows in November after all the news with the COVID vaccines and everything else. They've had the outflows the last 3 months, but they have actually gotten $1.7 billion going into them. And those ETFs, if you guys don't know, are called exchange-traded funds. International events, Nicaragua, Honduras, and also the island of Providencia in Colombia got hit really hard by the very powerful Hurricane Iota. This was after they just got hit by Hurricane Eta, so hopefully everyone there is safe. Hopefully the money that we donate to be able to help them, they don't steal, because that's what tends to happen down here. And in Brazil, there was a huge protest across the country during Black Consciousness Day. There was a black man that was being beat by several different security guards in a supermarket in the city of Porto Alegre, which is in the south. And so that caused quite a bit of a stir and protest across the country, similar to what happened in the United States this year for Black Lives Matter. Unusual facts this week: central banks are becoming more intensely focused on digital currencies than ever before. A lot of cash has been cratering, the usage of cash in a lot of different countries. In the UK, the number of people actually using cash is going to be dropped by 28% in terms of overall volume. And this is obviously because of the fear with the pandemic. And this is what I've been telling you guys. I think what's going to happen is this is kind of a lead up to the digital currencies of the countries, not necessarily the usage of Bitcoin, because I think Bitcoin will still exist. It'll still go up and down. You know, the analysts are still going to tell you that it's going to get to 500 billion tomorrow, right? But I think really the key is going to be the blockchain. That's a technology that the cryptos use. And in an interesting piece of archaeology that was found in Greece, 1.3 meters, or about 4.3 feet under the pavement, in Athens, there was a sculpture, a Hermes head, that was actually found under the street. The mayor, Kostas Bakiarou, that's his last name, I don't know how to pronounce it, I'm not even going to try it, said that essentially these heads were on posts along the side of the street. So that's pretty interesting as well. It dates from the 4th century BCE or the 3rd century BCE. That's the news for this week, guys. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Don't forget to subscribe. Smash that like button. It helps a lot with the algorithm. We'll see you next week.